songs to sing in the next set, but Danny and I were just sitting around, and he said, why don't you do this number? And I said, okay, and I have to tell you a little history. I had been living in Chicago for 20 years. I originated in New York, and I originated actually in Europe, but then when I was 3 years old, we came over and settled in Queens and New York, and then when I was just got out of high school, a friend and I, bored with parents always telling us, what are you going to do when you get out of high school? You'll have to go to a nice college, and the kind of thing that parents tell their kids. At least in those days, I don't know what they say now, but in those days, you need an education. You just can't go to wait. When I was a young man, I skinned rocks, and I got paid 10 centavos an hour, and if I had life, it's good, all the usual crap that parents tell you, And so this friend and I decided to hell with it, and I remember we had $5 a piece. We split a $10 bill, and got change, and had $5 a piece, and hitchhiked. This was 1948. Hitchhiked. We wanted to go west. Everybody's always wanted to go west. If you're from the east, I don't know if you're from the west if you want to go east, and the guys in the east all thought, oh geez, there's the mountains and there's trees and all that crap, and we thought eventually we'd wind up at Schwab's drugstore in Hollywood and like the famous, I don't know who it was, Rita Hayworth or somebody, got discovered sitting at Schwab's drugstore. Some agent through his cigar smoke, he observed a pair of shapely legs, and he said, I think we may got a little business. We can do some business here. And ever since then, people have worked. It doesn't exist anymore. But for years, people would go to Schwab's drugstore in Beverly Hills and hoping to be discovered. Well, we got as far. The only place you could go and it went a distance. There was a highway that went down the West Coast, and then was the Pennsylvania Turnpike. So we got hitchhiked, and you could hitchhike. It was great. Hitchhiked, and some guy, shoe salesman or something, said, "Oh, I'm going. Yeah, I'll take you guys. Take you down to Pennsylvania. Got on the Pennsylvania Turnpike. This thing, long wait, Pennsylvania. We did it wrong. We waited. We got down the road too far when they were gunning the cars. You have to get them when they're going up the ramp to the exit. And finally, a couple of soldiers. And it's a long story. Wound up getting with truckers. And are you still awake? And anyway, wound up going to. How does that have to do anything to do with this song? Oh. I remember now. So anyway, okay. So I stayed a year in Chicago, and I was going to prove to my parents. Parents were like all parents are. Wait till you see how hard it is out there to work. You think it's easy. Yeah, wait till you start to do something. So I said, geez, Pop. He didn't do it. My mother did it, and she, and relatives did it. No, I think it's an easy deal. Yeah, it's easy. Look at you making a living. And anyway, got out there, spent a year there, came back, never had to ask for money. Actually came back with a new suit. I looked. It would have been good if they'd been casting Little Caesar. I would have been. It had the pinstripes were about 2 inches apart. And anyway, so there we were, and I finally got home. And stayed there, went back, got drafted, went overseas, came back from overseas. A friend of mine called me up from Chicago. Said, "Hey, I got back. Hey, what are you doing?" I said, "I just got out of the Army." He said, "Come on, visit me in Chicago. I'm there with so and so." So I did. Then he got drafted. And this is going to go on for, we can do a TV, we can do a whole series of this. So anyway, I finally worked in Chicago, lived there for over 20 years, and then I got a call from Bob Wilbur, who was a soprano saxophone and tenor saxophone, alto sax, wonderful musician. I mean, he could do everything. And Kenny DeVerne, who played clarinet. Some of you might have met him. They're all dead now. This happens. They tell me this happens eventually. And anyway, and they call me to come. Wilbur calls me, says, "You want to join our group called Soprano Summit," which was a bass, guitar, drums, and the two of them. I call them the Tweety Birds, Wilbur and DeVerne, on playing clarinets and soprano saxophone. And anyway, I'm there. I got a place in Brooklyn. I moved my family to Brooklyn. Isn't that exciting? And you awake? Hey, you still awake? Anyway, moved them to Brooklyn, and one day they had a connection. Now, this is years ago. This is 40 years ago. They had a connection with some kind of TV show that was on all over the country every morning. I don't know what it was called.
Today Show.
The what?
The Today Show.
You're kidding.
No, I think that's what it was.
It was the Today Show?
Yes.
Some guy could retire for thinking that name on it. And anyway, and they send a vehicle, a cab to pick me up. I mean, a limo to pick me up. And I'm in the studio, and Wilbur says, "Sing that song," which we're going to do now. Sing that song. that this is all the way I've been trying to say. Sing that song we were going to do. And I said, "What? Me? I just got here. No, come on, do it, you know." And I suppose I should be grateful. I wasn't very happy about it, but they you know, the new guy on the band, they stick you with it. You got to do it. So I get in the mic. I remember it was too high. It was in the key of C. I'm croaking away up there, and DeVerne is making all kinds of obscene gestures while I'm doing this, and fungu and all that kind of stuff. While I'm trying to keep my mind on, you know, it's going nationwide. I thought to myself, this will be a big career. My career will be, my goodness. Next thing I'll have to get an agent. Who knows, you know? And I'm stroking away at this thing, and it was too high. And thank God it's over. That's why I'm doing the song now.